we're going to show you how to build a basic 8x8 raft. That'll be lots of fun for 4 individuals, and we're going to get started right now. The first thing you're going to need is materials, and there are 5 basic items you'll need. You'll need 2 sheets of plywood, 4x8. You'll need 8 2x4s, 8 foot long. You'll need 2 boxes of screws, 1 of each size. One will be 3 inches long, that will be for all the 2x4 connections. And 1 box will be 1 3/8, that will be for connecting the decking. And then the last material you will need will be pipe strap. And we'll use those 1 3/8 screws to connect the pipe straps. Barrels, you're on your own to find those. So the materials we have here, again, 2 sheets of plywood, 8 2x4s, pipe strapping, you'll need 50 feet of pipe strapping, and a box of 3-inch screws and a box of 1 3/8 screws. So when you lay your 2x4s out, because the raft is going to be 8x8, this will be the framework, and you want to ensure that your frame will be 8 foot by 8 foot. So the first measurement looks like that's a go. This is before we put the fasteners in, and we check the other length to make sure it's 8 foot.
It's 8'3". Oh no. Oh dang it. What are we going to do now?
So when you've got 8 footers and you've got a 2x4 on the end, you have just increased the length by 3 inches. So we will need to cut the 5 supporting members 3 inches short, so our frame ends up being 8x8. So once you've cut your 2x4s to length, you want to make sure that you have 5 2x4s that are 7'9" or 93 inches. We're ready to begin assembling the frame. And in order to fasten the 8 support members to the 2 outside members, we're marking 24 inches apart. The 24-inch spacing is to support a sheet of plywood in the middle. The 48-inch marking is to catch the edges of the 2 sheets. And then the last 24-inch mark will catch the center of the second sheet. As we put the 2x4s together, we are going to use the 3-inch deck screws. And the 3-inch deck screws are designed that the head is the holding power of the first piece of material, and then the threads will get a bite into the receiving piece. So we're going to use 3-inch deck screws, and we're going to put 2 screws in the end on each of these pieces as we go down. Okay, now that the frame is built, before we put the decking on, we're going to set the barrels in place, and we're going to put a barrel brace at the end of it to make sure the barrel stays at the corner where we want it. So we'll lay the barrel in position, place a 2x4 up against the end so we know where it goes, and then we'll measure the distance and cut it to length. With your barrel supports cut to length, place the barrels in the frame and attach the supports.
You cut it too short.
No, you did that.
No, I should have just cut them all. What the heck? Measure twice, cut once.
Well, what are we going to do?
There you go.
Oh, it's a perfect idea.
Perfect idea. Let's put it right in there.
Now that our frame is built, we're ready to place the 2 sheets of plywood on top of it. We will use the sheets of plywood to ensure that the frame is square. Before we put the sheets on, we want to make sure that we have the rough surface facing up. On sheeting material, there will be a smooth surface and a rough surface. The rough surface is a safety feature when it's put as decking material on a roof so there's traction. During the raft race, if you are not covering your deck, the material could become very slippery. So make sure that you have the textured side up, and that'll make sure that you're safe on your raft. We are now going to attach the sheathing material to our frame. This is where we will use our 1 3/8 fasteners. Again, you'll see that the non-threaded part, the head will hold the top piece and the threads will hold the bottom piece. The location of your fasteners, the first thing we're going to do is start on the ends, and we'll come in a couple of inches on either end to make sure that we dodge the 3-inch fasteners. With the first corner secured, we will now look at the other end to see if our frame is square. If you've built your frame and it's a little bit out of square, you can rely on your plywood sheathing to be square. So with your partner, we've fastened one corner, we will begin to push the framing and make sure that everything is square and fits tight. We'll be back in again about 3 inches to dodge the fasteners in the 2x4s. Now, as we begin to put the screws around on the decking, we will space them 1 foot apart. When all the fasteners are in, we will come back to where the barrels sit and we'll put one in between each of those, so those are fastened every 16 inches. The easy part of putting the screws in around the edge is you know exactly where the 2x4s are. When you get into the field, then if you've got a straight edge or a chalk line, you can mark where that support board goes so you know exactly where to put your fasteners. Once your decking material is secured, on the 4 corners where your barrels are going to rest, there will be extra force trying to push up on your decking. So what we're going to do there is we're going to go between each of the fasteners and put an extra fastener in to secure those corners. We will also secure the deck to the barrel support board that we installed underneath it. So we'll go in between each of the fasteners that are 12 inches apart and put another one in. If you are in a place on your raft where you think you're going to need extra holding power by the screw, you could take small washers and put your fastener through the washer, and that will increase the bearing surface. So your material, particularly your decking, will not split around the head of the screw. Yep. We're going to come your way. Now we're going to use the pipe strap, and we're going to put 2 straps on each barrel to make sure it stays to the raft. You'll need about 50 feet of pipe strapping. That will be plenty for you. So we're going to start on the outside, and we're just going to measure the length here. We want to go all the way down on the face of the 2x4, and I'll bring it on the inside for the same distance. Mark the length, and then we'll take the tin snips, and we'll cut these to length. When we begin to fasten this pipe strap, we're going to put the outside strap pieces inside the 2x4 because it's going to be a warm summer day. You may be hanging your legs off the raft, and we don't want anything sharp that's protruding outside the raft surface. Our 1 3/8 deck screws, the reason we chose those is to make sure that they do not penetrate and come too far on the outside that could create a hazard when you're on your raft. We're going to use the washers on these so we have extra holding power to make sure those barrels stay where we want them.